Hey folks, we are about to get started. So let me ask the people in the back, can you hear us? Wave if you can hear us. Okay, terrific. Okay, excellent. So good evening, everyone. Good evening. I wasn't intending a call and response, but that's kind of cool. I think I'll be doing that again. Anyway, good evening. I'm Julia Cosentino, Chair of the Board of the Social Innovation Forum Board of Directors. I'm here with our Vice Chair, Delphine Mooney. It is our pleasure to welcome you to our 2024 Social Innovator Showcase.
As many of you know, the past year has been one of exciting transitions at SIF. The organization, after 18 years under its founding director, has undergone its first leadership change. I have had the honor of serving as the co-chair of the search committee for SIF's new executive director, the second in the organization's history. In January, we were thrilled to welcome Wyona Lynch McWhite as SIF's new executive director.
As a board of directors, we couldn't have found a better leader to steward SIF through its next phase. As you'll see tonight, while some things have changed, what hasn't changed is SIF's commitment to centering nonprofits and elevating impact. So now, let's welcome Wyona Lynch McWhite up to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Oh my gosh, first I want to say thank you, Julia, thank you, Delphine, and thank you to all of the members of the board of directors at SIF, and thanks to all of you. Thank you for being here for our 2024 Social Innovator Showcase. SIF's mission is to create positive social change in Eastern Massachusetts. And we do this by engaging leaders, strengthening organizations, and building networks. We're an intermediary. We work at the intersection of nonprofits and funders. We're a capacity builder. We are a network builder. And we're also a learning organization. Since 2003, we have accelerated the growth of more than 130 nonprofit organizations and directed more than $61 million in cash and in-kind services to support their work. As SIF's new executive director, I have made no secret of how passionate I am about our innovators and the impactful work that they are doing in communities across Eastern Massachusetts. Since the first day I showed up, I have to tell you, I keep trying to meet with the innovators and hang out with the innovators. I just love these folks. Their commitment to meet community needs with innovative solutions and in partnership with community members really aligns with kind of a personal commitment that I have. It's kind of borrowed from a tagline from the Muhammad Ali Center in Louisville that really resonates with me. Be great, do great things. Now, those who know my background will not be surprised. I'm in the arts and culture sector for a long time, so no surprise that I found inspiration within a museum. But, Muhammad Ali was known for many things, including his accolades as a sportsman. But it was his work as an agent for social change and justice that he wanted to be the cornerstone of his legacy. And I resonate with that. Be great. Do great things. SIF is moving forward into our 21st year with a commitment to going further together and creating positive change with a will to both be great and do great things. To actively build practices and resources that support our mission, and I am really honored to be in partnership with our dynamic board and our amazing staff on this journey. I look forward to all the places we're going to go together. In that spirit, SIF is committed to building an inclusive and diverse community that fosters social impact, and we are particularly interested in uplifting and elevating the work of smaller, local nonprofit organizations who often don't have as much access to resources as larger organizations, right? And in particular, we're focused on those that are BIPOC-led. Tonight, you're going to hear from 8 amazing leaders as they share their organization's work and their visions for the future. They have a plan for strengthening, growing, and deepening their work, and each of these wonderful plans requires an investment. As you listen to the presentations tonight, as you read the showcase books that hopefully you're no longer sitting on, as you talk to the teams of innovators, I invite you to continually ask yourselves, how can I help? Everyone in this room has the capacity to help these organizations advance their missions. It could be making a monetary gift. It could be volunteering. It could be offering in-kind services. It could simply be making an introduction to someone in your network. Just think about that as you listen to the presentations tonight. Many of you in the room have already helped. And before we segue into the presentations, I want to take just a moment to acknowledge some of the folks who have made tonight possible, including first and foremost, our 24 track partners whose support of the Accelerator program makes all of this possible. Can I please get some applause for the track partners? Thank you, thank you. And I'd like to also say an early thank you to our 2025 track partners who've already committed to supporting the program for next year. We are still looking for additional track partners, and so if you want to learn more about that, please come connect with me or a member of the team. And finally, I want to also extend deep thanks and appreciation to our event sponsors for their support of tonight's event. I think there are sponsors on the screen. I also would like to thank the SIF board for their leadership and support for this year. And also, I'd like to take just a deep moment to just thank the SIF team. We could not do this without you. So a round of applause for this team. Awesome, thank you. So now at this point, I'm going to take my nervous butterflies back to the chair and invite up to the stage Tanya Enwald, our Director of Programs, to talk about our first set of presentations. Tanya?
Thank you, Wayona. Now bringing my butterflies here. Good evening, everyone. It's great to be here and see you all in this beautiful space again, the Artists for Humanity, and being a community that cares deeply about supporting and amplifying social change. So as Wayona mentioned, tonight you'll hear from 8 of our 2024 innovators, and we also have a special halftime performance by our 2020 innovator, Origination. Unfortunately, they didn't have a chance to have an in-person showcase because of the pandemic, so we're super excited to see them perform live tonight. You all, as Wayona mentioned, have your booklets on your chairs or under, so feel free to dive in and learn more about the organizations that you're about to meet tonight. Hopefully, this will give you additional information on different ways in which you can take action, because that's why we're all here tonight. As we've done before, we encourage everyone tonight to make the first move. So if any of the organizations touch you and pique your interest, say hello to them, scan their QR code, schedule a coffee meeting, make an introduction, or just simply tell them what really inspired you about their work. So before you leave tonight, we really hope that everybody is going to take at least one action to support our innovators and our community. And if you're interested in supporting all 8 of our innovators, we got you covered there too, because we have our Innovative Fund. And for those of you who are new to this concept, this is a new exciting program that we launched last year. The fund allows us to raise capital for each full cohort of the innovators that's evenly distributed across all of them every year, with a portion of it going towards the finalists as well. So all of the funds that were raised go directly to these nonprofit organizations. We're extremely grateful to our anonymous lead donor for getting us started last year, and for the generosity of other individuals and foundations who followed their lead and made contributions. Of course, our goal at SIF is to have the fund become a permanent part of the Accelerator program. So to that end, our goal this year is to raise at least $400,000 towards the 2024 innovators and finalists. And we're very excited that we already have $255,000 committed to that goal. That's exciting, and we will continue raising funds for the fund until December 31st. So we definitely encourage all of you to consider donating, because your support will make a transformational difference for our incredible leaders and the important work that they're doing in their communities. So now that you know about all the different ways in which you can support our innovators, it's time to meet them. So I'm very excited to introduce our first innovator, Boston Food Forest Coalition, on the track that's titled Pathways to Climate Resiliency, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance. We can clap. Orion Kriegman is the founding executive director of the Boston Food Forest Coalition, or BFFC. Previously, Orion had a successful career working internationally on the challenges of sustainable development and climate change. Orion was born in Boston and grew up with a love for nature, hiking and camping throughout New England. He has 2 young daughters and is passionate about creating a future in which we can all belong and thrive. Orion, welcome.
We are not going to stop the climate from changing, but we can come together to adapt and create justice as it changes. This is the most urgent and perhaps the most overwhelming task of our time. We are already living in a climate change Boston, and these changes are intensifying. Summer 2023 was the hottest on record, but this heat and humidity is not felt equally. Due to racism, Boston's black and brown neighbors live in neighborhoods where there's 20% less parkland, 40% less tree canopy, and a daytime temperature disparity that is 7.5 degrees hotter. Imagine instead a Boston where a network of urban parks replaces vacant lots from Mattapan to Dorchester to East Boston, capturing carbon and cooling the urban heat island. Tree canopy provides growing children and their grandparents and everyone in between access to fresh food, all neighbors living within blocks of green space. Imagine a more equitable, climate-resilient Boston. Boston Food Forest Coalition works at this intersection of racial justice and climate resilience, transforming vacant lots into green spaces, also known as food forest parks. We address the critical need for new green infrastructure rooted in community. For me, all of this began when I was living in Eggleston Square. Every morning on the way to the T, I would walk past a trash-strewn vacant lot, and I would talk to everybody that I met. Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué querrías para este espacio? What do you want for this space? Together, we decided to clean it up, removing tires, old TV sets, car parts, nip bottles, hypodermic needles. A real stone soup effort. Without a budget, we planted apple trees, currant bushes, raspberries, grapevines, native flowers for butterflies and songbirds, a nature-based design. When a young man was shot and murdered in front of our growing community orchard, together with his friends and family, we planted a blueberry bush in his honor. A light bulb went off. I realized we are growing so much more than food here. We are growing relationships between neighbors of different languages, cultures, classes, and race. Resilience is knowing each other. But if we did not own the land, all this good work could be uprooted. So we came together to create a nonprofit community land trust to own the land together in perpetuity. We named it Boston Food Forest Coalition, And using this model, today the coalition has grown to over 11 sites and counting. So in my story, you just heard 4 key strategies. You just heard 4 key strategies working together synergistically. First, we partner with local leaders. Today we are in 8 active conversations with community leaders ready to transform vacant lots into food forest parks. Community ownership. We buy the land from the city of Boston for $100, taking deed, ensuring it is owned by the community in perpetuity. Nature-based design. Research shows that urban forests and tree canopy, planted thoughtfully, can reduce temperatures in city neighborhoods by 10 degrees. Stewardship and education. The same local leaders who came together to design the park become its stewards, planning soup nights, potlucks, birthday parties, music festivals, and more. Boston Food Forest Coalition staff act as the backbone, ensuring a climate-resilient network of urban parks for generations to come. When we began in 2015, I was the unpaid executive director. Today, we are a team of 8 conserving over 130,000 square feet of urban land with over 60 dedicated volunteer stewards. This work reaches thousands more. And as the climate crisis worsens, we are growing. There is more interest and demand from local communities than we can respond to. There are over 200 parcels, vacant parcels owned by the city of Boston, not suited for commercial or real estate development, ready to be transformed. The opportunity is huge. But the limiting factor is people and financial resources. We need more capacity to expand the number of parks, support more stewards, and grow our board. Our plan is to build 3 food forest parks a year on the path to 30 food forests by 2030. We need multi-year funding partnerships at every level to join us on this growth trajectory. If we can double our budget to $2.6 million, we can triple our impact. The time is now. Community resilience is climate resilience. Please join us in creating a more equitable, climate-resilient Boston. Thank you.
Orion, thank you so much. It was great. I actually met Orion many years ago when I think you were that volunteer executive director, and you were so passionate about this work, so I'm so excited to see you here tonight, and encourage everyone to check out those food forests. They're really amazing. Now I'm very excited to introduce our second innovator, Kids in Tech, on the track that's titled Advancing Educational Workforce Pathways and Supports for Adolescents and Young People, sponsored by Youth and Education Collaborative. Just a quick note that this year we actually piloted this collaborative track with 3 funders, Move the World Foundation, Jim and Lisa Vallone, and Wellington Management Foundation. We selected 3 innovators on this track, with Kids in Tech being one of them, and you'll hear from the other 2 later tonight. So when Olu Ibrahim's father brought home a Gateway 2000 PC to help him complete his doctorate in biophysics, he foresaw the future this computer offered his 4 daughters. After college, Olu became a middle school teacher and led STEM educational programs. While observing the speedy growth of tech startups in Lowell, Olu was struck by the lack of STEM learning opportunities available in lower-income schools. In 2016, Olu founded Kids in Tech to bridge this gap. Like her father, Olu is creating a vital gateway to STEM learning for youth in Lowell and Boston. She was just recently recognized for her work, receiving the 2024 Black Excellence on the Hill Award from the Massachusetts Black and Latino Legislative Caucus. Olu, welcome.
Thank you. Access to STEM learning is a social justice issue. I know this firsthand. This is my mom and my dad. I am so grateful for them because of their perseverance and their vision. You see, when my family was a low-income household until they received their science degrees and embarked on their successful science careers. That Gateway PC that Tanya mentioned for those who are listening, as well as STEM paved a way out of poverty for my family and I, and has inspired me to do the same for other kids. Whether you realize it or not, our world is in fact a STEM world. From the houses we live in, to the roads we drive on, to the vaccines and medicines we use every single day. Our world is shaped and influenced by science, technology, engineering, and math. However, for low-income kids, they don't have access to STEM immersion programs, which means that they don't have a voice in shaping the STEM world all around us. Now, this is Lucas. He's so cute. But most importantly about Lucas, he's 9, and he, every day I see him, when I come to Tech Club, he says, "Oh, hi, Miss Olu, the Portuguese word of the day is X, Y, and Z," and I teach him an English word. Let me tell you guys, his English acquisition skills, perfect, exceeds expectations. Mine drastically needs improvement every single time, and he reminds me. But most of all, he loves video games. But before Kids in Tech, he did not realize that he could actually create a video game. We need more kids like Lucas learning STEM skills. Because as you can see here, 97% of girls and 92% of boys lose interest by grade 5 without proper immersion in STEM learning. And this is where Kids in Tech comes in. Kids in Tech After School Tech Club teaches kids ages 8 to 14 about STEM topics. We go on site twice a week for 10, 20, and 30 weeks at schools and youth-serving agencies around Lowell and Boston, and we teach them a variety of STEM topics. Our tech clubs are led by high school and college students as well as grad students who are paid employees of Kids in Tech. Now, back to Lucas. Lucas, one day in Tech Club, was very, very frustrated. He was working on creating an online game, and he wanted the specific color. So we told him to try different things. He was just shaking his head, getting even more frustrated. But then it dawned upon him, and he told me, "Miss Olu, I think the coding does not recognize the color that I want." And I was like, "I think you're right. I think you're right." And he said, "I know I'm right, because I tried everything you told me." And that is the power of our program, though, because in that particular moment, Lucas knows that if he can improve his coding skills, right, he knows that eventually he can teach the computer to recognize the color that he does want to appear on the screen. And for those who are wondering, that color was fuchsia, by the way. I told you, his English skills are great. At Kids in Tech, we are all about hands-on experimental learning. For instance, this year in our biomedical engineering curriculum, our kids were using everyday products to remove plaque from arteries, similar to what the surgeons use in a surgical room, angioplastic tool. That being said, our kids are learning to be creative, find patterns, and think critically. They're learning to take things apart and put them back together again. They're learning to persevere when they're frustrated. And most importantly, they are becoming problem solvers. And finally, our kids bring their confidence when they present their projects at our annual showcase to their parents, peers, and their other friends. Since our founding in 2016, we have served 10 school and youth serving agencies. We have served over 450 kids. We have engaged more than 100 volunteers, and we have partnered with over 28 corporations, foundations, and community organizations. At Kids in Tech, we measure impact. The impact I'm most proud of is that 91% of our students self-report that they better understand the role of STEM in their everyday life. This means that they now have a voice in shaping and influencing the world of STEM. Over the next 2 years, we want to excite, educate, and empower 200 more kids by adding 4 tech clubs in Lowell and Boston. We want to expand into Worcester. We want to add 4 key staff roles in programming, data evaluation, and development and communications, which will increase our revenues by 20%. I hope that each one of you guys will join us in making this a reality. You can host a field trip. You can be a career day speaker. You can be a tech hub assistant, and you can help us expand. We need close to $988,000 over the next 2 years to make this a reality. Our vision starts by one child like Lucas, transforming themselves as they acquire the skills, the confidence, and the tools that they need that will enable them to become the next generation of tech leaders. Help us unleash this potential in every child. Let us create the next generation of STEM leaders together. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for this amazing work that you're doing. I really wish I had this kind of program when I was growing up. Sounds like it's so impactful. I would like to introduce our third innovator, Just a Start Financial Empowerment Collaborative, on the track that's titled Building Financial Resilience, sponsored by MassMutual Foundation. Ian Davis is a Financial Opportunity Programs Manager at Just a Start. Born in Indiana, he served overseas in the U.S. Peace Corps before moving to Boston to pursue a career in nonprofit work. He's an accredited financial counselor and is passionate about guiding families on their path to financial empowerment and economic stability. Welcome, Ian.
Cambridge, now a glittering city of high technology and higher education, wasn't always this way. What was once a diverse, largely working-class neighborhood has become the world's biotech capital. Just a Start has been there through it all, from our founding 55 years ago and evolving continuously with the community ever since. For people struggling financially in the midst of this abundance, the wealth disparities are apparent. And believe it or not, there is poverty in Cambridge. In fact, a greater percentage of Cambridge residents are living below the poverty line than the statewide average. This shouldn't come as a surprise in a city with a cost of living 73% higher than the national average and a housing cost more than double the national average. Just a Start seeks to build an equitable community. We do this through stable housing, workforce development, and economic mobility programming. Community can't exist without place, and to that end, we've renovated this storefront at 55 Norfolk Street in Central Square, which was once the beating heart of Cambridge public life. There's Carl, our executive director, at the ribbon cutting. This building and the programs it houses is our Financial Empowerment Collaborative. Where community is the tool and participants the problem solvers, this is the space to bring them together. 3 standalone programs create a point of entry. Our free tax service filed 334 returns this year, bringing just under $640,000 back into the community in refunds. Through financial coaching, we've worked with 400 families over the last 5 years to budget, build credit, and achieve financial goals. With career coaching, we guide participants through resume writing, interviewing skills, and the job search. From these standalone services, we've built a program that goes deeper. Families moving forward. This intensive wraparound program incorporates mobility mentoring, financial and career coaching, and financial incentives alongside a community of peers. We've just completed a multi-year pilot of this program funded by the City of Cambridge. Our goal now is to work with 20 families over the next 2 years and to increase that number over time. Participants attend monthly meetings where they get guidance. That's either individually or in small peer groups, and they attend bi-monthly community meetings. We've put ourselves in community as well. We've partnered with 5 major Cambridge and Somerville agencies for their expertise and referrals to their services. Participants like this parent, cute, right? Participants like this parent define their own goals, work to complete them, and receive a cash payment when goals are achieved. We offer 2-to-1 match savings. With emergency savings, when the next crisis appears, our participants can avoid high-interest debt, bolstering their economic security. Here are some real ways that folks used their savings: to buy a car, to get to work and daycare, for oral surgery and to attend classes. Between cash payments for goals and match savings, pilot participants earned an average of $3,300 each. And for many of our folks, this was the first time that they had savings in the bank. Individual services are open to any low-income Cambridge resident, and through these, we often meet people in crisis. We work with them to solve immediate issues. Families moving forward is deeper and longer term. Through this work, the nerves. Through this, we work with people to improve their lives in a holistic manner. And doing so, we prevent crises from reoccurring. The real power of this program rests squarely with our participants. One person, let's call her Ray, has a special needs child whose care left her with little time for personal goals. Two others, Ellen and Joan, had just completed childcare certifications. Through a small peer group meeting, we brought them together. And with help from one of our partners, they applied for a federal program. And now Ray has childcare, and Ellen and Joan are paid to provide it. This sort of innovative solution is only possible through community and long-term relationships. And I'll add, solutions like this come up all the time. In March, we graduated this first cohort of families. They left with a collective savings of $110,000. And collective income over $500,000 higher than where they started. With so many resources in Cambridge, we want to see everyone benefiting. Programs like ours can't run without supporters like you. Over the next 2 years, we need to raise $708,000 for staff, building upkeep, program incentives, and match savings. I've been privileged to see the transformative power of this work in the lives of our participants and their families. Join us, and let's continue to move families and Cambridge forward to an equitable future. Thank you.
Ian, thank you so much. I also want to recognize that Ian was going through our program, filing all the tax returns that he just mentioned, and also running all the other programs at Justice Start. So appreciate all of your hard work. I would like to introduce our next innovator, Family Independence, on the track that's titled Holistic Approaches to Mental Health and Physical Well-Being in Historically Excluded Communities, sponsored by James B. Bosky Memorial Foundation. France Neff, President and CEO of Family Independence, has dedicated her career to empowering young parents and helping them build stable environments for their children to thrive. With over 20 years of working with families, France's passion and commitment shine through in every endeavor. She believes in the power of guidance and encouragement to help individuals and families reach their full potential through life coaching, mental health services, and personal and professional development. Friends, welcome.
Thank you. Families deserve to be together, but families experiencing homelessness, young families, are more likely to have their children taken away. According to research, young families, young people who are experiencing homelessness are more likely to have threats to their health, safety, and well-being. They're more likely to miss school. They're more likely to resort to crime as a way of survival. The problem is it's bigger than we actually think it is. 1 in 10 young adults and 1 in 30 children will face homelessness this year in the United States of America. That's where Family Independence comes in. We keep families together. Family Independence provides a stable, calm, and warm environment for families experiencing homelessness in Dorchester, Mattapan, Roxbury, and the South End. We work hard to keep families together. Families come to us because they have nowhere else to go. Whether they're 16, 24, or 40, they have one thing in common. They're at risk of losing their children because they're homeless. Families have different needs, and so we meet them where they're at. We provide intervention and screening referrals for the children, workforce development for the parents so they can get better jobs, education support, mental health support, and childcare, which makes all the difference. The goal is that families are self-sufficient, they have their own housing, they're productive members of their community, and they stay together. We have two programs. Our Young Parent program serves teens between the ages of 12 and 21. The focus of that program is that we make sure that they're enrolled in school, they develop life skills, and that they're able to have childcare for their children. A teen that comes into our program can stay between 3 to 5 years, depending on how old they are when they enter. Then there's the shelter. The shelter serves women over the age of 22. The focus of that program is to help them do housing search, workforce development, case management, and advocacy. We follow each family for 2 years after they leave our program. Each family actually lives in an apartment that they share, and they're responsible for keeping it clean and organized. And they have 24-hour support from the staff of Family Independence. So now I'll tell you about Deidre. Deidre came to our program at the age of 19 with her child, angry, frustrated, and not wanting to be in a program. She showed her discontent by cursing staff out, not following curfew, just not following program rules. So we jumped into action. We met with Deidre several times and came up with a plan to meet with her school with her permission. We track her attendance, make sure she got her work done. After living with us for a year and a half, she was able to graduate from high school and move into her own housing. And now I'll share about Susie from our adult program. Susie came to our program with her 12-year-old son, Don, and 2 children under 2. When she came in, she expressed that she felt really sad and depressed because she was not able to accomplish her goals. She had been previously evicted from an apartment. We then figured out that Don was acting as her childcare provider. So we met with her and came up with a plan for Don to go to school. We found him an after-school program and a summer program in the community. And we also helped Susie to get childcare so she could accomplish her own goals. I'm happy to report that Susie moved into her own apartment this past month, and she shared with us that she now feels better equipped to take care of herself and her family. Now, we know our program is impactful, and it works. And the demand for our program is growing. In Massachusetts, we've seen the rise of homeless youth go up to 38% in the past 3 years. That's why we need to raise $420,000 to hire 3 clinicians, connect with the community, so we can then actually meet the demands and impact. We also would like to definitely connect with services in the community so that we are and invest in the families of Boston as we continue to help them break the cycle of homelessness and improve the lives of the children.
Friends, thank you so much. So impressed with the work that you're doing. So incredibly important. We're actually going to take a tiny quick break right now because we need to move this podium off the stage so we can have folks from Origination perform. So please don't go anywhere. It's literally going to take us hopefully 30 seconds, right? Yeah, maybe a little more. But I'll be back to introduce Origination real soon.
No, it stays on. It's logged on. He'll unmute it when it... Yeah, we're back.
Okay. Should I introduce?
All right, I'm back. I promised it will be very, very quick. So I'm very excited to introduce and start our halftime show. I'd like to welcome Musao Dubinga, who is an amazing leader of Origination. As I mentioned, they were our 2022 innovator. Musao was the founding managing director of Origination, became its executive director in 2018. She has a BA in International Relations and Economics from the University of Pennsylvania and an MBA from Boston University. She also has 15 years of investment management experience and over 40 years of dance training, performance, and instruction. Musao, welcome.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Are you ready to see some dancing? We'll try that again because I don't want to pull you on the stage. Are we ready to see some dancing? Awesome. So at Origination, our mission is to use the arts to help our young people become the best citizens that they can be within their families and their communities. We have several different programs that allow our students to train in all styles of dance, to partake in leadership development programs, as well as employment training. Among our many programs, we have the professional dance division where we have 3 youth dance companies who perform all over the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And our older senior company, Nia Dance Troupe, performs overseas. So we've traveled to Africa, Europe, and the islands where we do a lot of community service. And we also let our young people meet young people in all these different countries and build relationships with them so that they can see the similarities that they have in common. And so today, you are going to see a few of our members from Girls of Imani perform a high energy dance. And they're going to be so dope that you're going to want to come up on the stage, but please don't. But this is very exciting because we're actually celebrating our 30th anniversary this year. So, yes, we made it through the pandemic. So we're very excited to be here. And I loved the first 4 presentations that we saw, and we look forward to the rest. But right now, I need you to give a long, large, warm welcome to Girls of Imani.
Right to the road, in at the road, I'm out of the road, I'm up and up. All right, let's give another round of applause for the dancing. That was amazing. And congratulations to Origination on their 30th anniversary. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Dingy. I'm SIF Senior Program Manager, and it is such a pleasure to be here with you all this evening. And I'm so grateful for the 2024 Social Innovator Cohort and to have gotten to know them over these many months. Tonight, there is a lot to celebrate. Before I introduce the next presenter, I'd like to extend a couple of thank yous to people who have dedicated their time to work with the innovators to make sure they get all of the resources and support they needed for this evening. Our wonderful consultants worked alongside our innovators for 5 months preparing for this day. We are so grateful for their work. Yes, round of applause. We are so grateful for their work with the SIF team and the 2024 innovators. I'd also like to thank the pitch panelists and the innovator mentors and other folks in our network who helped the cohort get ready for today. We'd also like to appreciate our in-kind partners who have been instrumental in supporting the presenters, particularly our presentation coach, Veronica Barron from Ariel. Thank you, Veronica. We'd also like to thank all of those who volunteered on the evaluation committees, as well as an extra special thank you to the nonprofit consultants for our alumni organizations who supported the selection on the participatory and the collaborative tracks this year. And we'd also like to thank Opus Design for their partnership in designing the beautiful PowerPoints you're seeing tonight. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the executive coaches, many of whom are actually here today, and who will work with the innovators in the next stage of their SIF journey. So now, I would like to introduce our next innovator, Beat the Odds, on the track titled Advancing Educational Workforce Pathways and Supports for Adolescents and Young Adults, sponsored by the Youth in Education Collaborative. Camila Amanda Rojas Pinero Pagan is the co-founder and chief executive officer of Beat the Odds and a proud Latina woman born and raised in Roxbury. For over 18 years, Camila has been devoted to fostering a supportive community that empowers young people to find their voice and build confidence. In addition to leading BTO, Camila serves as the Community Advisory Program Manager at Casa Mirna, where she has spent over a decade supporting survivors of domestic violence and rebuilding their lives. Having completed her nonprofit management and leadership certificate at Boston University, she was recognized by the Celtics as a hero among us and is an inaugural member of the Boston Foundation's Women of Color Leadership Circle. Welcome, Camila.
We can try, oh we can try to save our children, they are dying, no more lies, oh no more lies, we are human, we are hurting, the world's
That beautiful, powerful voice you just heard, that was Rose. When Rose first came to Beat the Odds at 16 years old, her voice was drowned out in grief. She was in a dark place after watching her mother struggle with addiction for years before losing her battle. Left without parents, Rose was sad, she was angry, heartbroken, alone, forced to grow up quickly, leaving her childhood behind. She came to BTO to find an outlet for her pain, and that's where she found her voice. The arts heal, the arts connect, the arts are why I'm here today. My name is Camila Amanda Rojas Pinheiro Pagan. I have a big name and an even bigger voice. And I use my voice to help others find theirs. Because like Rose, I was one of those kids who also needed healing. I grew up in Mission Hill, Roxbury in the 80s and 90s, and we were surrounded by violence that was completely normalized. I used music as my escape from the chaos. I remember being a young girl singing and dancing, and let me tell you, you could not tell me I was not Mariah Carey. I used to be in the mirror like, someday, ooh, someday. But it wasn't until I had my own kids that I realized I could break cycles and I could heal future generations. So in 2019, a group of my closest friends and I put our talents together, and we built a stage for Boston youth to shine. A stage for them to beat to their own drum, a stage for them to beat the odds. And those odds are discouraging. BTO breaks intergenerational cycles of poverty, racism, violence, using creativity and arts as an entry point. We serve youth ages 14 to 24 from Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, Hyde Park, Rosendale. 40% of our youth participants are dealing with housing instability, and 100% have been exposed to community or domestic violence. Do you know that each person at BTO knows someone who has died from gun violence? I want you to hold on to that for a second, because that means that 100% of our youth participants are dealing with trauma and escalating mental health challenges, and they need BTO to heal, because that's what arts do. Research shows that art-involved youth are more likely to graduate high school, they have a better sense of well-being and social connectedness, and they are less likely to feel lonely. And this is how the magic of BTO works. We start off by welcoming our youth participants into our brave but tiny space in Dorchester that quickly becomes their home. And we actually pay our youth so that they can choose and learn how to express themselves and learn creativity versus getting just a regular job just to provide for themselves and their families. Our inclusive space provides safety, support, stability. Through our authentic mentorship model, real connections happen with youth who are dealing with real life challenges and our staff who can relate to those experiences. Healing happens in our empowerment groups with a licensed clinician who's also from Roxbury and aims to break the stigma of mental health in our communities. From there, we build life skills with workshops on healthy relationships, financial literacy, and creative entrepreneurship, just to name a few. All these work together to allow for bold creativity, where our youth learn the technical skills they need to develop their craft. We connect, we create, and we catalyze. Our youth choose between artist development, dancing, performing arts, music productions, and content creation. And we pour into them so that they can pour into themselves. And let me tell you something, we get some amazing results, because 100% of our youth graduate from high school, 99% enroll into college or tech schools, 92%, they stay with us at BTO for a minimum of 2 years, and that's the minimum. Most of them just don't ever leave, they just want to stay. 65% of our youth who graduate come back and are hired as leaders and mentors. Remember Rose? The arts helped her heal, and she is now on track to graduate high school in June, and she hopes to become an art therapist to help other children who have been affected by trauma. Because something happens when young people walk through the doors of BTO. Wounds start to heal, barriers start to crumble, and our young people start believing that they can break these cycles, they can beat the odds, and they can surpass everyone's expectations, including their own. But for every one youth that we serve, we turn 4 down due to lack of capacity. And we need your help to change that. Right now, we have 2.5 full-time employees, and we hope to get to 6 full-time employees in the next 2 years. This will allow us to double the amount of youth we serve and grow our tiny space into one that they deserve. All this adds up to a 2-year fundraising goal of $2 million. The arts heal, the arts connect, the arts bring passion and magic to this heavy world. Please join your voice with ours in the highest human act possible and help us build a stage and inspire our youth together. Together, we can help young people in Boston beat the odds. Thank you.
so much, Camila, and everyone at BTO. Let's give a round of applause for Rose, too. What a beautiful voice. Wow. All right, so now I'd like to introduce our next innovator, Massachusetts Women of Color Network, on the track titled Disrupting Cycles of Harm and Building Pathways to Healing, supported by an anonymous donor. Kishana Smith, Executive Director of the Massachusetts Women of Color Network, is a dedicated and dynamic leader in the anti-violence movement. She has over 15 years of experience in advocacy, direct service for survivors, and program development, and holds a bachelor's degree in business management. Kishana openly identifies as a survivor of domestic violence and other injustices, and states that her personal experiences led her to this work, where she has found joy, healing, and purpose. Welcome, Kishana.
Thank you. Picture this reality for sexual and domestic violence programs in Massachusetts. A mother of 4 young children calls the hotline. She explains financial abuse. Her partner takes her paychecks and gives her $30 a week for allowance. A Black transgender woman calls the hotline after a sexual assault at the train station. A Spanish-speaking caller has been trapped in her house for 2.5 years because her abuser tells her that if she goes outside, ICE will arrest her. She is thinking about leaving her abuser, which can be the most dangerous time in the cycle of abuse. She needs support to create a plan. Per the current statistics of frontline positions held in Massachusetts, these 3 callers will likely speak with a woman of color on that hotline call. In fact, by the time my pitch is over, another 104 individuals in Massachusetts will experience sexual or domestic violence, SDV, and a crisis hotline is typically the first point of contact. Women of color service providers are at the heart of the work to end sexual and domestic violence. But they face inequity at work, workplace harm, and microaggressions, leading to high rates of vicarious trauma, compassion fatigue, and burnout. That's what inspired 7 women of color in 2010 to create the Massachusetts Women of Color Network, MAWOCN. We support the leadership and sustainment of women of color working in the sexual and domestic violence movement in Massachusetts, from frontline staff to executive leadership. Before receiving our services, women of color reported feeling isolated, unseen, unsupported, and fatigued. Doors closed, access denied. At MAWOCN, we provide training and technical assistance, counseling and mentorship, financial support, advocacy, professional development, and member resources, opening doors to opportunities, lifting as we climb. The SDV field is evolving. More women of color are in leadership roles, and women of color are staying in the field longer. In 2015, only 3 out of 88 executive leaders identified as women of color. Today, that number has tripled. And our organization stands as a pillar in this profound shift. How? Through our reports and recommendations to the field, advocacy, and the training that we provide our members. But that's not all. We are also impacting the broader community by providing trainings to enhance support for women of color and Black survivors of violence. At the heart of our training program lies our groundbreaking Keeping Black Survivors Alive, KBSA, multimedia training toolkit. MAWOCN leads a cohort of 5 Black women-led community-based organizations in Massachusetts. Together, we have created the KBSA Toolkit. Considering Actually, I would love to share. In 2023, we lost 22 people in Massachusetts to sexual and domestic violence-related homicides. In 2022, we lost 19 people, and women of color are the leading demographic. Given the high frequency of SDV, everyone is needed to make a difference. So the KBSA Toolkit empowers the SDV service provider, law enforcement, businesses, places of worship, barbershops, and salons, providing a culturally specific curriculum of best practices, strategies, and a live resource database to enhance services for the most marginalized communities. The primary goal of the KBSA Toolkit is to achieve zero SDV-related homicides. So, in the next 2 years, MAWOCN plans to expand by 6 new staff positions to meet the needs of our community. Currently, we support 489 women of color, and I have personally taken 1,037 hours of counseling calls this year alone. Thank you. Hiring an advocate will allow us to expand our counseling and mentorship program and provide more KBSA free statewide trainings. We need your help. Our goal is $1.6 million over the next 2 years. If MAWOCN did not exist, women of color would not receive culturally specific services and would likely leave the field, deeply impacting the 67 plus SDV organizations across the state and the survivors that they serve. With your help, we will continue to create a community free from oppression, free from violence, where women of color are valued and their voices are heard, lifting as we climb. Thank you.
Kishana, thank you so much for all the incredible work you're doing in supporting DV organizations in Boston. So now I'd like to introduce our next innovator, Latinx Community Center for Empowerment, on the track titled Strengthening Democracy Through Civic Engagement and Community Empowerment, sponsored by Jampart Charitable Trust. Diego Leonardo is the founder and executive director of LCCE. Trained as a scientist, Diego has extensive leadership experience in the biotech sector. His work is inspired by his own lived experience in an immigrant family navigating resources for the Latinx community in Lowell. Welcome, Diego.
Thank you. By 2060, 1 in 4 Americans will identify themselves as Latino, Latinx, or Hispanic. But the future is now in Lowell. Over 40% of the population in Lowell public schools identify themselves as Hispanic or Latinx. But yet, only 10% of the staff do. There is zero representation or political elected official in Lowell. Let me tell you a story about my family. As many families come to the US, we pack our dreams in a suitcase to find a better future. And yeah, that's me with the black wig. Coming to the US was something that we always dream of, something that we thought that by landing, money will come out of our pockets. But we quickly learned that was not the case. So we find out ourselves, my dad and I, working McDonald's Sleeping Burgers when he won the Employee of the Month more than me. And finding out ways to find out how to elevate ourselves in professional ways, we also find that our story was not unique in the Latinx community. That's why the group of people, we founded the Latinx Community Center for Empowerment in 2019. where we are breaking down barriers by understanding the needs of the local community, by understanding how language sometimes becomes a deterrent to find the right path. When you have your suite full with dreams and expertise, but sometimes it's easier not to find a way to get there. With our programs, with the civic engagement, workforce development, financial literacy, we tend to elevate these skills and the tool set to have better representation by having a thriving community where we can have representation from business to education to government. How does that path work? Let me introduce you to Jonathan. Jonathan went to our workforce development coming from Nicaragua, and he found out that he needed to get some English classes. He quickly attended his English classes, and by helping get it into his resume workshop, we ended up hiring him, and now he is one of the most favorably rated teachers in our programs. By having a Latinx community, civically engagement creates representation. This is why we try to strive for engagement so we can create representation that really understand the differences on the community. The Latino community is very diverse. It has 9 different countries where they spoke English, Spanish, Portuguese, and some indigenous languages. This is why we have people that come from democracies, that also come from dictatorships, and some are citizens and some are not. This is why we have this education that can help them understand political ballots as well as political races. Our financial education, it's a program that is focused on families that are multi-generational households. These multi-generational households happen when you have an uncle, a grandma, or somebody that lives with you. This understand that there's some money constraints that come with it. And by understanding the cultural context of it, we have a symposium where banks and credit unions come and provide information such as how to open a business account or an account. So Latinos were more than just eating tacos and dancing salsa, and this is why we create a cultural representation and festivity of it. We want to celebrate the cultural differences as well as the food, elevating the crafts, and also having a more representation of each individual community member in Lowell. We also founded the Lowell Latinx Archive, which tries to collect the oral histories of all the Latino leaders that have created an impact. In partnership with UMass Lowell, we're creating this platform so these stories can be told. Our impact is big. We're currently have one staff and work with a lot of volunteers. We have over 150 people taking English classes in our program, and we have trained over 300 staff at Lowell Public Schools in cultural sensitivity. Our impact is big, and it's being told by the numbers. This is what our students are telling us. We have big goals and big dreams. And with that, we want to double these English sessions that we have from Saturdays to evenings. We also want to expand on a physical space of our own where we can accommodate the programming depending on the growing needs that we have. We want to grow our team. As I said, I'm the only staff, and we need to get more staff members for that. And also, we would like to increase our partnerships with other communities in Lowell so they can understand how to reach out to the Latinx community. I want to thank our founders and partners, especially Greater Lowell Foundation, the Boston Foundation, and Mass Humanities that have supported our work. But I want to leave you with this thought. Less than 2% of the philanthropic dollars go to Latino nonprofit organizations. So why are you waiting to get and be part of us? Join us to create the civic, social, and economic network for the Latinx community in cities like Lowell. Thank you so much.
Diego, thanks so much, and for all the really important work you're doing for the Latinx community in Lowell. So now I'd like to introduce the last innovator of the evening, top-notch scholars, on the track titled Advancing Educational and Workforce Pathways and Supports for Adolescents and Young Adults, sponsored by the Youth and Education Collaborative. Joanna De Pena, founder and executive director of Top Notch Scholars, is a role model and inspiration for young people. Thanks to her academic and athletic abilities, Joanna earned a full scholarship to Proctor Academy, and her dedication to her community brought her to LaSalle College, where she earned her business degree. She has been recognized by El Mundo in its Boston's Latino 30 Under 30, and also was awarded the Tribute to Women Award for professional and community achievements. In 2016, Joanna was recognized as a Gateway City Leader by Mass Inc. for her leadership and dedication to inner city youth. Welcome, Joanna.
If you could dream it, you could do it, Walt Disney once said. Good evening. My name is Joanna De Pena, and I am the founder and CEO of Top Notch Scholars. We are a youth leadership development organization based in Lawrence. We help inner city kids identify their life passions and career goals, and we help map out the intentional steps on how to achieve those goals. I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for mentorship. See, when I was 9 years old, my father suffered a stroke, and it left him nonverbal and paralyzed. But before he got sick, he made a decision that changed my life forever. He signed me up to play basketball at the Boys and Girls Club of Lawrence, where I met my mentor for life, Steve Kelly. When low-income youth dream, they don't necessarily believe that they can achieve it due to their family circumstances. Lawrence has some of the highest unemployment rates and lowest high school graduation rates. 1 in 5 students don't graduate high school. Lawrence's young people are going through a lot. Poverty, mental health issues, peer pressure. Many feel anxious and lost. At Top Notch, our students gain the confidence and knowledge to pursue their passions. The result? Well, the result is that 100% of our graduates high school and get to experience professional fields. They explore their interests, and they get to network with mentors in-house to support their journey. At Top Notch, we have 5 academies: leadership, college and career, entrepreneurship, healthcare, and coding. We hope to add a real estate and property management academy in the next 2 years, which is a part of our growth plan. The nerves. Academies are 10 to 15 weeks long, and we work with local high schools to inform them of our programs. However, majority of our kids come to us through word of mouth because majority of our kids rave about our program. The cornerstone of our program is the Leadership Academy. In our Leadership Academy, our students develop the self-confidence and emotional intelligence through weekly workshops, one-to-one mentorship, and skills training. Our College and Careers Academy, our students create a plan. They also learn how to minimize their college debt, and they get to learn about trade, military, and certificate options. They get to learn it all. Our other 3 academies offer career, training, and internships. Now, our Entrepreneurship Academy, my favorite, our students learn and run our in-house business, Top Notch Water. 100% of the sales create scholarships for students. Our Healthcare Academy, our students get to intern at Lawrence General Hospital. They get to explore different departments like the emergency room, pediatrics, maternity, just to name a few. In our coding academy, our students learn cutting-edge technology and also get to learn from other professionals in the field. Our scholars' accomplishments illustrate our success. 1 in 5 students don't graduate. Remember when I said that? Well, guess what? 100% of our scholars graduate high school. That's huge. This is Saviel. Saviel joined us as a freshman. He completed our Leadership Academy, engaged in one-to-one mentorship, and he interned at Reading Cooperative Bank, Silverio Insurance as well. This weekend, Saviel is graduating from college. But there's more. He already landed a job in Boston with a starting salary of $85,000. Let's go! Being raised by a single mom, Saviel attests that without Top Notch, he would not have had the training, mentorship, or experience to navigate high school, college, and even the workplace. Partnerships fuel our accomplishments. We have 10 internship sites where our scholars are placed. We have 42 water accounts creating scholarships. And we have 25 funding partners, which one of them, last year, the Cummings Foundation awarded us $1 million over the next 10 years. So thank you, Cummings. That's a lot. Amen. So we are poised for success. We are doubling our scholars' reach from 150 to 300. We are expanding our academies, and we are increasing our internship sites. But to get it done, guys, we need $1.8 million to make it happen. Our young people are resilient and motivated. Join us and help us help them have a leg up that they deserve. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Let's give another round of applause for the innovators. Woo! I am sure they are all breathing a huge sigh of relief. Whew, they did it. As you all have witnessed tonight, these leaders and their amazing organizations work so hard in general, but they certainly work really hard in this accelerator program. And that's on top of all the amazing work that they're doing day in and day out in their communities. So I'm up here for just a few quick closing remarks. I have the difficult task of standing between you and the desserts that I hear they're putting out in the lobby. You know, I know we're all feeling really energized and inspired by the presentations. How could we not be? And so now we want to help elevate this work. You know, now it's our turn to get to work. There's lots of ways that we can do that. Did a particular organization or mission resonate with you? Is there an issue that's close to your heart? You can make a donation directly to the innovator and support that work. What if you can't choose among these wonderful 8 organizations? I feel you, neither can we. And that's why we have the Innovator Fund, if you'd like to support the work of the whole cohort. Now remember, Tanya talked about this earlier, all the money raised in the fund by December 31st will be split evenly among these organizations. And I'm happy to share that for tonight only, we are waiving the minimum donation for the fund. If you all would get your phones out, I know you've got them, there's a QR code on the back of your agenda that you can go ahead and use if you'd like to make a donation to the fund today. I think they're going to put one on the screen eventually, but I don't control the text, so maybe it'll be there, maybe it won't be there, but it's on your agenda. And please know there's other ways you can help that are not just about finances, right? You can help activate your network. You can tell others about tonight's presentations. You can make an introduction. You've already maybe started that, keep it going. And you can also use those phones that are now out and maybe text someone and tell them about an amazing organization that you learned about today that you are truly inspired by, right? You'll also notice on your agenda that you've got a QR code for Originations, the wonderful organization that performed at halftime. They're a nonprofit too and could use your support. And that last code, well, SIF is also a nonprofit, now BIPOC-led. And we couldn't do this wonderful work without your support. So we want to make sure that's an option for you. So please remember to support, amplify, all of that. Remember to visit the tables out in the hall before you leave, and if you missed food at the beginning, there's going to be some food along with those famous desserts that I talked about. Now, go connect. Celebrate these amazing innovators. I told you I was in love with them. Aren't they wonderful? Woo! As Veronica told me, as we talked about this, if someone moved you, go tell them. If someone said something that you want to learn more about, go ask them. Let's build connection, build community, and go further together. Thank you all for being with us this evening, and good night.